Hey everyone, this is Jessica with Well Hello Cookie. Today we're going to be doing the Gourd-eous Weather class, so get your kits out and let's get started. Everything you'll need for this class came in your kit. The only extras that you will want to get is a napkin so that we can wipe off our icing, and also a pair of scissors to cut open those icing bags. Before we get started, we're going to grab those icing bags. As you may notice, it may have separated. So we're going to take 2 minutes to massage each bag to make sure that all the ingredients are nicely mixed. You can pause the video here while you massage all your bags. Next, we're going to grab our pair of scissors. I'm going to use the navy icing bag for this. So when you cut open the bag, you want to make sure the seam is on the top, and you're going to cut a very small hole at the tip of the bag. Remember, you can always cut a bigger hole, so start small first. So the first thing we're going to do is warm up our hand. If you've never taken one of my classes before, I always like to go over when you press on the bag, icing is going to pour out. That is applying pressure to the bag. So with this warm up, we are going to learn how to control the pressure we apply to our icing. I'm going to start at the beginning of the line, apply pressure. I'm going to lift my bag up so that I can see where the icing is falling. I'm going to repeat this on each line, so you can pause the video here if you want to take time to do all the lines. Next, we're going to do the loops. As you can see, I do the same technique by pressing my bag of icing, lifting it up so I can see where it's falling on the loops. You see me going in small circles with my wrist to try to control where the icing is falling. The wavy line gets a little bit more wrist action, as you will see my wrist bobbing up and down to mimic that wavy line. We will have to do a free-handed circle, so this will be good practice. I like to always start at the top and go clockwise. Circles are the bane of my existence, as it is very difficult to create a perfect circle freehand. Now the heart combines two motions. You're going to do the squiggly line and also a straight line at the end. So I'm going to go over the top of the heart with an arch and pull the icing down to the point and stop. If you haven't already, this is the time to go ahead and cut all the tips off of your bag. Remember, cut small initially, and if you need to make the hole a little larger, you can do that as we go. We are going to start by outlining our cookie. So we're going to grab the scarf cookie in our mint green icing bag. I'm going to start in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to follow the rectangle at the top of the cookie. So we need to pay attention for our next outline. At the bottom of our cookie, we have tassels. So we're not going to outline all the way to the end of our cookie. You can judge where you want to stop, but I'm going to give it just a little space at the bottom so I can put my beads and my tassels. Then I'm going to go up a little bit at an angle to make that scarf layering effect. Then I'm going to finish outlining the scarf by doing the last section. Same thing, giving space at the bottom, and then I will follow the cookie all the way up to the top. The next cookie we're going to grab is our gourd. You're also going to need your wooden scribe. It has a point at the end and a flat panel. And I'm also going to use one of my Well Hello cookie scribes, which are available for purchase in our store starting next Monday. So with the scribe, I'm going to outline where I want the leaf to go. The great thing about these wooden sticks is they have this point and you can lightly scrape into the cookie. So I'm trying to make an outline of my green leaf so I can follow that. Now we're going to grab our mint green icing. What you're going to notice in this part of the video is I actually do make mistakes on my leaf initially. I grab my wooden scribe and I use the paddle end to scrape off the icing. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and if you don't like the way that your leaf looks, you can use the wooden paddle to also scrape off yours and try again. After several failed attempts at my leaf, I decided to go a different route. I'm going to outline my stem, and then I'm going to make my leaf outline from there. Sometimes you may notice me taking my icing bag off screen. That's because I'm using my napkin and pressing a little bit of icing out or wiping the tip of my bag just so I can get a clean line. The next cookie we're going to grab is the coffee cup. We're going to grab our white icing and we're going to outline the middle first. You will see little indents that stick out, so just start from the left side, pull it over to the right, and then make your rectangle in the center of the coffee cup. After we outline the middle, we're going to do our whipped cream. So you will notice that there is a little indent at the top after the whipped cream. So we'll draw a straight line from left to right. Then we're going to do the effect of whipped cream bubbling over the cup. So you'll see that I'm going to make little half circles attached from that bottom line. For this next part, you're going to have to kind of eyeball it. So I make a little half circle here just to give it some more texture in the whipped cream area. Now I'm going to grab our light pink, and at that first indentation I'm going to follow that bubble and then make a line across to the other side. This is to give the effect of the coffee cup having that rolled area where the lid would pop on. Then we're going to outline that last little part of the bottom of the coffee cup. Then we're going to grab our gourd pumpkin again, and I am going to finish off doing my leaf finally. You're also going to need your navy icing as we're going to outline the body of the gourd. So I'm going to start at my stem, and I'm going to outline one side and follow all the curves all the way down. Then I'm going to start at the stem again, and I'm going to make a second line, leaving some space, but I'm going to follow the same curve all the way down and connect my lines at the bottom. Then I'm going to start at the base of my leaf, and I'm going to follow that outline and those curves on that side of the pumpkin. Then I'm going to take my icing bag and go to the other side of the stem and do the same thing. I'm going to follow the curves all the way down, connect the lines at the bottom. Then we're going to connect the 2 lines at the bottom to finish off this pumpkin. Then we are going to grab our coffee cup again and our pink and our white icing. The first area we're going to fill is the white in the middle. So I'm going to take my bag and I'm going to apply pressure. I can squeeze a little bit harder because I want the icing to come out in a larger flow. Also, I'm going to go as close to the line as I possibly can without going over to start filling it. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, you can make a little space between the line and you can use your wooden tool to kind of push the icing to that line so it doesn't spill over. Now you're going to notice me using my scribe to kind of work out those lines. Using a scribe in a circular motion also helps you flatten your icing along with pushing it to the edge to fill in those gaps. Anytime I have any peaks, I will use my scribe and go in a circular motion to kind of work that peak down to make a smooth, flat surface. The next icing we're going to grab is the light pink. We are actually going to do the section between the whipped cream and the other pink section. We do this because we want to be able to decorate this cookie faster. There's a process called crusting over. This allows us to give dimension to the cookie without the cookie running together and looking like one big blob. To speed up the drying process of your cookies, you can also stick them in front of a fan in between flooding sections. So right now I'm going to take this cookie and I'm going to put it in front of a fan so that it will crust over faster as I'm doing my other cookies. Now we're going to grab our pumpkin cookie or our gourd, and the first section we're going to fill is the middle section. Again, we're following that same principle of decorating smarter and faster. So by flooding this middle area right now, it'll allow me to be able to flood the other 2 areas once this section has crusted over. We also are going to grab our mint green color so that we can flood the top of the leaf as well. After I flood that area, you're going to see me use my wooden tool to flatten it out and work the icing to the edge. We are going to go back to our scarf cookie and we're going to grab our navy, white, and mint green icing. With this cookie, we're going to be doing a wet on wet technique. So we're going to start by flooding the top portion of the scarf with mint green. While flooding my cookie, I'm going to be applying a lot of pressure to my bag to have the icing come out. If for some reason your icing is not coming out, you can cut your tip a little bit more to make sure that the flow of icing is steady. Then when I'm done flooding this area, I'm going to take my wooden scribe and I'm going to work that icing all the way to the edge. You're going to notice that I pick up my cookie and shake it. Sometimes to get those last few lines out, shaking the cookie helps. Also, it allows me to be able to see the top portion of my cookie. As you can see, I had a little bit of a gap, so I went back and I worked it with my scribe. So I'm going to start by putting my white icing on the scarf part. I will do 2 lines going across and then 2 lines going up and down to make kind of a cross stitch pattern. Once I've completed that with my white icing, I'm going to grab my navy icing and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow the pattern that I've already done with white, putting my navy right next to it. So we're going to bring the coffee cup back down and we're going to grab our white icing and start with the whipped cream. Now for the whipped cream, I actually want the lines to show because I want it to have that bubbling whipped effect. So I'm not going to ice over the line. I'm going to ice next to the line, that way that you can see that whipped cream line. Next, I'm going to grab our light pink icing bag and I'm going to flood the 2 areas that we have left on the cookie. And then when I'm done, I'm going to stick this cookie back in front of the fan. Next, we're going to grab our gourd and we're going to start flooding this cookie. So we're going to flood both sides of the gourd, and then we're also going to flood the stem, which is the benefit to flooding the middle in the first place, so that we can flood all of these areas that do not touch. Then I'm going to stick this cookie back in front of my fan so it can dry a little longer. Next, we're going to grab the scarf cookie. I'm going to start by doing the left side. So I'm going to fill it again. But this time, when I do the lines, I'm going to make them wavy lines. So I will do the white icing first. I will make that a wavy line and then follow up with the blue icing after I have flooded my cookie. Once I'm done with that side, I'm going to take my navy icing and I'm going to hold it up and down and apply pressure to make 4 dots for a place for my tassels to connect. Now we're going to grab that coffee cookie again. Remember when I told you we're going to do a free-handed circle? Well, here's the time. We're going to grab our mint green, and in the center of the white, we are going to make a free-handed small circle. Then, once we've made that circle, we are going to fill it in and flood it. Once that's flooded, I'm going to grab my sprinkles and my royal icing transfers. Those are going to be the blue little gourds you got. I'm going to put a couple sprinkles on my center circle, and then I'm going to lay my blue pumpkin down on it. Then I'm going to use my wooden scribe to get it in the right position. Next, we're going to grab our gourd and we're going to fill in that last little piece of the leaf. Then we're going to bring our scarf down and we are going to repeat the same thing we did on the opposite side. So we're going to flood and then we're going to do our lines. I did forget to do one of my blue lines, so I came back and did it after the fact. It still looks good. Again, it's a cookie, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Once you've flooded everything, you're going to go down to your blue dots and you are going to make 2 lines coming off of them for tassels. and then we're going to add 4 dots to the opposite side of the scarf. I'm going to show you one special thing with the gourd. This is not from the class picture, but you might be wondering what this sponge thing is for. If your pumpkin is completely dry and you want to give it some texture, what you can do is put some icing on it and then take this sponge and lightly tap on it, and it will give your pumpkin some texture. We're going to grab that scarf cookie one more time, and we're going to finish off the tassels at the bottom by adding 2 lines to each dot. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add some dimension to our scarf. So grab your mint green, and at the top of the scarf we're going to add a U for the opening of the scarf. I hope you've enjoyed the Gourd-eous Weather class by Well Hello Cookie. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for our next videos. I hope you have a sweet day. See you soon.